Welcome into this Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. Another work week here with you. Not a very good weekend for the Ole Miss athletics program for the most part. Probably a few of you guys wanted to get on with the next week as soon as possible. Ole Miss baseball losing 2 out of 3 to Central Florida over the weekend. And Ole Miss basketball seeing their bubble hopes popped at Vanderbilt on Saturday. Did not play well at all. We'll discuss that a little bit. They've got Kentucky and Vanderbilt again this week. Rebel baseball has a very busy week, at least 5 games. Memphis, Jackson State, I think Belmont this week 3 times. So there's your schedule for the week. We'll get into that and more, as well as Ole Miss football scheduling a home and home that'll happen actually this decade. Usually those are like 4 decades out. This one's kind of close. This one's this decade, 28 and 29. So that
I started working on the on that depth chart earlier today.
For 28 and 29?
The 29 game depth chart. Yep, got it.
I mean, Arch Manning could be in like his 3rd NFL season.
Yeah,
when they play the game.
Yeah,
so something like that. Anyway, podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Go download the Speed Pass Plus app. Use it. Earn points. When you earn points, you save money. There with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. If you're here local, stop on into the Oxford Exxon, hot case, barbecue, chicken, side items, and more. Or whatever it is that fancy there with plenty of food selections at the Oxford Exxon. Or the lunch special, it's $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get that quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop it around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. I know they were giving, I think, 10% of their proceeds on Saturday to the pantry. So if you went there to throw stuff at the televisions and get mad and also enjoy a burger and a po' boy, a couple of beers, their liquor selection, the whole deal there, you were also donating to a very worthy cause. So kudos to you guys. Kudos to the people at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
So 28-29 for BYU Ole Miss football.
Big games.
Provo in 28, Oxford in 29. So BYU has some new uniforms out. They'll probably change those like 6 times prior to 28 and 29. Associated with the current athletics department is – here we go. All right, let's play a little game.
All right.
We'll get into this other stuff in a minute. We got plenty of time.
Oh, we got time.
We're going to be with you for a minute. You got a G-Pits coming later today, I believe.
Taping at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So that's exactly how much time that I have.
Okay. Well, we're not going for an hour and 26 minutes, but that's fine.
Glad to hear it.
Let's start with some easy ones. In 2028, Lane Kiffin here?
No.
Keith Carter here?
Yes.
I think so, too. The Ole Miss as the designation for the program?
Yes.
Yes. Rebels.
Oof.
I'm going to go yes, but we're at least having some conversations. I think
if you could let me put odds on it, I'd go 52-48 yes.
Okay. But you think there will have been something about
I have
that
zero
point.
doubt at all that there will have been some discussions about that. No question. I mean, zero. Based on just...
You don't think climate alters in the next 7 years where that goes away to some extent, or at least back burners?
Boy, it's hard to see that today. I mean, if you can see that happen in Nostradamus, fill me in. Let's go to Vegas. Because, I mean...
It's not really a Republican or a Democrat. It's not a political statement at all. And, I mean, obviously COVID and different things make it the case right now. I will be really happy when I just go through a news cycle for a day and the president's name is not mentioned in any way whatsoever. And I don't deal with anything political or president in my focus during the day.
I don't know that the American media can do that.
I need a boring, just, when Obama, Clinton, Bush, there were times where we just didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
Go be the executive. It's all good.
You didn't answer the Kiffin part. You think Kiffin's?
No.
You say no also?
Yeah, I say no also.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, because look, if he wins at the level, he's going to have some other. I mean, yeah, come on. I mean, just he could be the coach of the freaking LA Rams by then. I don't know. Hell.
Yeah, I don't see how that happens.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, because Kiffin's not the guy, I don't think, to bog down into a bunch of 75, 8-4 seasons and just sit somewhere for a decade.
No.
And that's the only way that happens.
Right.
You either win to a level that the NFL calls or Alabama or you know what I mean, like whatever, or it goes up in 8,000 flames, one or the other. Tony the Shark?
No, gone.
Gone?
He's dead.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
Will he come back next season?
Ooh.
When at least he's allowed to from a COVID standpoint.
The 2021 season.
Whatever. Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Whatever. I mean, I don't know. Take a pick.
I'm going to say that the Ross Bjork, Michael Thompson version of Tony the Land Shark is gone for good.
Do you think there's a possibility that another iteration comes out?
If you told me that they take a Hail Mary and try some form of a fluffy shark to see if they can salvage this, I'd buy it.
But you got to go all in.
Yeah, well,
you can't just throw him out there.
There's no indication in any recent Ole Miss history that they're going to go all in on a mascot.
We're not pushing it all in.
No. Got it. That's not their style. Probably piss some people off over there, but I mean, I'd be happy to have that debate if you'd like to come on the show and talk
Robert
about it.
says at least 2 more mascots by then. I think it was one of the other media members. It wasn't me at Baseball Today. You know, the solo cups aren't allowed to race at Swayze Field.
Why?
COVID. And
wait, no.
They are in like hazmat suits. Like if anyone is safe, how is it not the freaking solo cup?
So
he's surrounded by.
So the solo cups can't run because of COVID.
Well, it falls into the mascot category. There are no mascots allowed. They're technically the mascot.
Okay. I did not know.
They're literally in a big.
Okay, but I did not know this. So, but no, I saw Aubie the Tiger at the Auburn game Saturday.
Are you sure?
I'm positive because I watched the replay this morning.
I thought it was a COVID thing.
No, Aubie the Tiger was in the stands talking to 2 Auburn students on TV during the Tennessee game. I know it for a fact. Saw it this morning on the replay.
Can they be on the court?
I don't know that.
Okay. I thought there was a mascot rule because I thought that's why Tony was dead during football season.
I got questions now.
I'm asking some people.
Even if there's a rule,
go ahead.
Does the virus hunt mascots?
I have no answer for. I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking you a question because at Oxford High School they had the horse person, the charger. So are we saying that the virus hunts a mascot more than it would hunt a person not wearing a mascot outfit?
Brian said Aubie's been vaccinated. It's all good.
I know.
If you can vaccinate an animal, Reveille has been vaccinated. I'm sure.
Damn right he or she has.
Yeah, she.
It's a she. She. Thank you.
I assume the new one's a she.
That's crazy that you can't have the mascot.
I think maybe I'm wrong, but at the
so
home.
Are we saying that the cups are too close to one another?
At the home opener, there was something about solo cups and some virtual something. Yeah, like we'll be. I wasn't really listening because I hate the stupid things. But
so if
there was something related to the solo cups not being able to do what they do.
It makes no sense at all. I mean. It makes no sense at all. Do I need to put a patent on the catfish just in case?
That wouldn't be the worst idea.
I need to trademark it.
Just sure. I mean, they have to sell something for there to be royalties, but yeah.
That would be emblematic of my relationship with the University of Mississippi over the last 6 years. That I come up with an idea. Basically, in jest, they take it and turn it into millions of dollars, and I don't get a damn cent. That would absolutely be emblematic of the relationship that I have developed on a personal level with the institution that is the University of Mississippi.
Yeah, I have no. I'm asking. I don't know. But there was something virtual about the solo cups. That's all I'm telling you.
Is it because they're standing? What if they sat and rolled like in chairs?
I mean, maybe they're really close together.
Well, they do start at the same start line. Could they stagger them like a track meet? depending on who has the inside lane.
I understand. I don't know. Was anyone else at the game? I don't know. Again, I wasn't paying attention. I make fun of the things. Everybody kind of gets mad at me, but I don't like them. They've just kind of run their course. I don't think the yellow one is still one. And now I will say I see it 35 times a year. I'm not the 8-year-old who sees it twice and it might be funny. But when you're trying to dream up the next skit and then they're not funny, and then I don't think yellow's one.
I haven't been in a while, but talking to people who have, I think they've taken Peanut Butter Jelly Time all the way.
It's over.
And Sweet Caroline as a song is.
You think it's done too? If you're not at Fenway,
it should be eliminated and banned from stadiums everywhere. That's my hot take. Do your thing. Like when I think of Ole Miss's thing that's original that they've always done, it's the Love Is Gone thing. When the fourth, fifth inning, whatever that is.
Yeah, between the fifth or going to the fifth, whichever one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's your thing. Do your thing. Don't steal everybody else's thing and then have 10 things that just me.
And even that's stolen, but it's become theirs. It's fine.
Yeah, I think of it as theirs.
Yeah, it's
sort of like the UCLA stripes. That was the one that I always loved.
It was, we've told the story. It was a fight in a press box between one of the former SIDs and a media member, and not Chuck. I'm not doing that.
No.
And they're arguing about football jerseys and shoulder stripes, and the guy, the media member, it's been around for a while. He goes, well, I mean, he's just getting mad. I mean, his veins are popping. It's red, like really getting mad. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm just telling you on TV, when you think nothing but Ole Miss when you see those UCLA stripes. And he went, hold on. Whoa.
Hand raise.
Give me a second.
If I thought Ole Miss, wouldn't I call them the Ole Miss stripes?
So, I'm again trying to find some answers. I don't know, but that's kind of where we're at. But I swear I did see something. The Solo Cups did not perform throughout the weekend, and there was something on the video board about something.
Well, that is virtuous. I'll give them that. That is virtuous.
Yeah, I mean, Peanut Butter Jelly Time has been going on for 15 years?
At least 13.
It's bad. I do like the LB's fresh meat thing. I do.
Sure.
It's a good tie-in.
Sure.
And I wouldn't say that just because of Gray. I mean, it's true.
Yeah, that's good.
Any more what ifs for 28? You done?
Yeah, I mean, the kids who are going to be freshmen in that game are currently 9 or 10 years old.
They're in like the 4th grade.
Yeah. Carson will be 22 when that game is played.
He could be done with college.
He'll almost be 23 years old, which is depressing as hell. Is that right? 21 now, so it's 7 years from now. He'll be 21, almost 22.
Okay. So he'll be a senior in college or something like that.
God, that is depressing.
Because it doesn't feel like it's that far off.
He graduates college if everything stays on schedule in 29.
Okay. So the second game of the...
Yeah.
So he'll get a home game for senior year. That's good.
Yeah.
There's... Yeah, there needs to be a retooling of all the stadium music. And again, a lot of the gripes come from people who go every single game, and anything just gets stale after a while, and you move on and move on and move on. But at some point, when it's been, and I think they have changed it a little bit, but there for a while, I could tell how much time was left prior to the game starting by what song was playing on the PA. Like I knew, that's like 18, 20 minutes. That's like 24 minutes. We're getting close to first pitch now.
I mean, I can see
Mike's had the same walkout song for like 20 years. They could switch him up a little bit.
I could see where the little kids would love the Solo Cup races. And I guess I would have to be willing to concede that maybe the little kids like Peanut Butter Jelly Time.
I think so, though.
It's conceivable, but that show doesn't really resonate with kids anymore.
That's not a kid's show.
No, that show's
a little above that.
Have you watched that at all in the last
Like
5 years.
No, not really.
No, I haven't either.
I mean, it's over, right?
I still see it in syndication constantly.
Well, yeah. But they're not doing like new shows, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
The Simpsons still new, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the longest running show ever. I mean, they're in what, like 20-something years?
When was the last time you watched a live The Simpsons?
Years. I mean,
Yeah,
to a point that I couldn't even tell you.
I'm thinking it's been a decade probably.
Didn't like a new episode used to come on like after the Super Bowl or some? Didn't they have a tie-in to some sporting event or something we all watched? And maybe I caught like some of that just through the periphery.
Maybe so. I don't remember.
Because it's Fox, right? Simpsons is Fox.
It's Fox.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we do need to change up our intro.
It's been going on a while.
Been years. I can't remember the last time I listened to it.
I mean, I hear the first 4 seconds every day.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I hear the last 4 seconds every day to make it fade in, fade out. That's all I really can do.
Over under the one hair I have falling off. I've got more than one. Unfortunately, it just grows.
I mean, you could bozo it if you wanted to.
Oh, I could go full scale bozo, and it's actually darker than it used to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're getting some hair at this point.
Actually, I think I have more hair on the sides than I used to have. But every 3 or 4 days, it's bye-bye.
As of 2021, 360 episodes of Family Guy have been broadcast. On May 11, 2020, Fox renewed the season for a 19th season. On September 23rd, 2020, Fox announced the show would continue through a 21st season. So there are still new episodes.
Still going.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a long time.
It used to be something you watched a good bit.
I liked it years and years ago.
Simpsons still going. They are at 697 episodes at this point, I think.
Wow.
32 seasons. They debuted in 1989. But yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time that I've watched
it. Larry Joe says we should put the wasn't no 49-10 in the opening. And could we find Orgeron calling you Chet?
Seth. I'm sure. I mean, the problem is back then there weren't video just of every single press conference like now, so it'd be hard. And you got to be able to hear over another media member's breathing through his mouth the entire time. But so, I mean, you would pick up your recorder to play it back and hear, and you just don't get a lot of words in that. It's where's he now? He's not following O around anymore. So where's he at?
I don't know where James Bryan is.
Yeah, I don't either. I told you he was driving Uber there at one point. I've told you that story.
Oh, you got in his Uber, didn't you?
I didn't, but another former RebelGrove.com employee did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like random as hell, just like was like, whoa, holy hell. Didn't see that coming. Yeah. I think you might listen to the shows. I don't want to out the guy, but the other guy, not James. I don't think he hangs out with us every day. But anyway. All right, we'll move on to some basketball and baseball in a minute. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Stoughton County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float-down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by, I got the wrong thing. There we go. It was almost a disaster, Chase, or Seth. We're brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammons at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for more than 73 years. Whatever kind of jewelry you're looking for, from engagement rings to collectibles, Lammons is the gold standard. They've got it at Lammons Fine Jewelry, lammonsfinejewelry.com, or 662-234-2777. Also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. It's muddywateroutdoors.com. They still have the heated jackets or vest. Buy one, get one free. Also the portable battery charger. When you get one, you get a second one for free there at muddywateroutdoors.com. We are also brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, the name you can trust with more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience in Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Just the last 2 weeks ought to serve as the reminder for you that you want to make sure that your heating system stays in tip-top shape, and you also want to get your air conditioner ready to roll because it was 3 degrees, and then about 10 days later, it was 73 degrees, all here in Oxford, Mississippi. So if you live in that area and you want to make sure that you're covered either way, 662-801-1777 for the people at Comer Heating and Air.
Podcast is brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Go to the events page, see everything going on locally every day, every week. They update it continuously there on the website, so bookmark it and use it. A lot of them is baseball, some music, and different bars and restaurants around town, as well as some other virtual lectures and more right now on the schedule. And if the executive orders maybe work out this week like we think they might, more stuff going on locally. So again, another chance to check out visitoxfordms.com/events. Let's see.
Who we firing first? Bianco or Davis?
I mean, I really thought, Keith could save time and just call them both in the office together and just kind of go, hey,
One
you know
fell
what?
swoop.
He did have like that day really early on where it's like everybody's out. Just firing half the damn campus seemed like there for a couple days. One far more relevant at the moment than the other. Although I think the message board may disagree with my thought process there.
So I did some experimenting this week.
Okay.
Because you know me, I like to experiment with some analytics.
What'd you do?
And this is really raw.
I saw you did this, actually.
And I wanted, you probably knew exactly what I was doing when I did
did.
it. I even threw women's basketball in the mix.
I did.
Because they won. Baseball gets more views. The baseball press conference, which is longer and frankly a little bit more laborious to get through. I mean, I was keeping it real. Gets more views than Kermit's press conference, which was quick, short, to the point.
Mike is more of an explainer. He will talk and talk and talk. And to his credit, he tries to give thorough answers. And he'll hang in with you, and he's whatever. But no, it can be 4 to 6 different, it can be 3 to 4 different people asking questions, and all have completely different crap they're asking, and Mike goes on and on and on and on with every single tangent. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to go 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, y'all went like 18 Saturday. I can't remember the last time we went 18. We didn't go 18 with Kiffin the whole time.
Yeah.
Because Kiffin's quick now. But you get about 10, 11 minutes, and you can tell Lane's looking around for the parachute
exit button.
Yeah. Let's get out. Done.
He needs Langston to holler. Everybody going.
Shay gone?
Yeah. So baseball had more analytics, is what you're saying, from a view standpoint.
Baseball did, and actually women's basketball got more quick views than men's basketball.
Did it really?
Because they won.
Yeah. Because 2 wins, men's would win. But
yeah.
So we'll start with basketball.
Okay.
Ole Miss losing to Vanderbilt. They're now 8-8 in the league. They have 2 games left. They play Kentucky tomorrow night or Wednesday night. Which one?
I think it's tomorrow night.
Okay. Tomorrow night in Oxford, the home finale for the road. No, it's not the home finale. Never mind. They play Vanderbilt at home as well on Saturday. 2 home games left prior to whatever happens in the SEC tournament in Nashville after the loss, including, which Vanderbilt was without its 2 best players, including Scottie Pippen Jr. You got to win the tournament to get in. They have killed any hopes of any at-large bids or even having any drama to get back onto an at-large picture. It's over.
Yes. The games are no longer must-wins this week because they don't matter.
I saw some stat where Ole Miss has lost 10 games this season in which it's been favored. They win some games they're not supposed to, and they lose tons of games that they are supposed to. They're a fairly inconsistent team. I think we've seen that all year, and I think that's what breeds out from a number standpoint is they don't play the same way. They don't play with the same intensity. They don't play the same kind of game in, game out, week after week, home, away, however you want to do it. It was from a lot of different ways, from a fan base enthusiasm, from a staying in the conversation, from frankly what you and I were talking about this morning, because I think sometimes fans take the wrong picture into what we believe maybe the program should be year over year over year. In all the different ways combined, it was a fairly, it's not a program loss as far as Kermit's getting fired tomorrow or anything like that. He's not getting fired this season. But in a lot of ways, it was a pretty catastrophic loss on Saturday in Nashville.
It was. There's no other way around it. Look, you're playing a team that had 2 SEC wins, didn't have their 2 best players, didn't have anything to play for. I mean, Vanderbilt, meaningless basketball game.
Completely.
To Vanderbilt. You know, Jerry Stackhouse, I'm sure, would dispute that and talk about program building and blah, blah, blah. But it's meaningless. What would bother me? What would bother me if I were an Ole Miss fan, and I think it's what bothers people, is a couple things about this team. This team shouldn't be in this spot. This team's better than this. Now, how much better? I don't know. But they're better than this.
At minimum 10-6, and we're not having this conversation.
I'll even go a little further. Yeah, I think there are only 2 teams in the league this year, maybe 3, depending on what you think of LSU. And I have a complicated opinion of LSU's basketball team. But there's only 2 teams that I think are head and shoulders better than Ole Miss.
Okay.
I think Alabama's head and shoulders better than Ole Miss, and it's clear.
Sure.
And I think Arkansas is head and shoulders better than Ole Miss, and I think it's fast becoming clear. Eric Musselman's done a really good job.
He has.
After that, this team, and Kermit sort of said this the other, this team could have been in the double bye selection, a conversation easily. This team had a real chance. I was listening in the first half. They cut in and they had Joe Lunardi. Hey, what does Ole Miss have to do? And he basically said they got to win out and get to the semifinals of the SEC tournament. And I had some people light my phone up with Lunardi's an idiot. And I was like, it's pretty realistic. That's doable. At the time, I thought, Ole Miss will win this game. They're going to play Kentucky, and I was kind of watching Kentucky, Florida, and Kentucky's all right. They're all right. But they're not world beaters. And frankly, they won't show up with much on tomorrow night or Wednesday night.
They blew their opportunity against Florida.
Over. Yeah, any chance they had of any kind of momentum is gone. So I was like, you could beat Kentucky, and then you can beat Vanderbilt again. And if you do that, the odds are overwhelming the way that the league is shaking out that you're going to be a double bye. You got a real shot to be the 4 seed. The way some of the tie breaks work, you got a shot to be the 4 seed. You own the tie break against Tennessee. Got a shot to be the 4th seed. At which point you don't play till Friday. Win 1 game, and boom, there you are. You're in the semis and you're in the tournament. I thought, you know what? This team, for all of its flaws, has a real shot. And then you fall apart in the final few minutes of the first half against Vanderbilt and just get owned on the defensive end in the second half against Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. Just get owned. Vanderbilt shot 59-point-something% in the second half. You got a team shoot 59-point-something%, you're going to have a hard time winning. They're getting wide open looks. I watched on television. I asked Kermit, I said, am I seeing this right or am I wrong? He goes, no, you're right. You could see on television, this is how egregious the mistakes were. You could put guys with their eyes in the wrong places. Excuse me for hitting my mic. Guys with their eyes in the wrong places in basketball on television. As soon as I asked the question, I went, the fans are going to make tackling jokes.
Yeah, sure.
But in basketball, if you're trying to steal a look to see where someone else is going and you lose your guy on a back cut, that's your eyes. That's discipline. That's defensive discipline. And in a moment when Kermit's telling them, we've got to be dialed in for these next 12 minutes, these next 8 minutes, whatever, we've got it if we'll just dial in. They just didn't do it. That's the part that blows me away, that twice now in an 8-day period, playing teams that really didn't have anything to play for unless you're going to do the whole rivalry thing, at which point I'm not going to debate you. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, 2 teams that had nothing to play for from a traditional standpoint, out-efforted you, out-toughed you, out-hustled you, wanted it more than you. To me, that's weird. But when you do it for 20-something games, to quote the great philosopher Andy Kennedy, you are what the numbers say you are. And when the numbers say you're an average team that's inconsistent, you are. And average, inconsistent teams don't make NCAA tournaments.
In a year where, however you want to mean this, whether it's, Kentucky is not Kentucky because of these reasons, and this team's not this, and the Conte Johnson thing at Florida, and all these different reasons why.
Yep.
The league was really gettable this season. I mean, I'm sitting here staring at the standings, and if you've really got your crap together, now look, this also means it's kind of hard this year to get your crap together. I think that's at least fair to say in a lot of ways for a lot of programs. But you mentioned Alabama, Arkansas. I mean, Florida's at 9-5, LSU's at 9-6, and after that, I mean, Tennessee has been a train wreck at times this season. There's no excuse to be anywhere below that right now for Ole Miss.
Agreed. Well, to your point, and I don't think he'll mind me saying it now. He's been gone for 3 years. But near the end, Andy and I had a conversation at one point just about the job. He knew he was gone. I knew that he was gone. I knew he was gone. And we were just talking about the job. And he said, one of the things you got to know at a place like Ole Miss, and I think he named a couple other schools too, is on that year when Kentucky's down, you got to strike. And he said, I did. And we made a joke about, a Millinghouse floater, but
in 13.
Kentucky was not great that year. Played Florida that year in the final. Kentucky got beat in the semi. Vanderbilt beat them. Or in the quarter.
Because they beat the Vanderbilt team that had no legs there by that day.
Yeah. So, this was a year that turned out Kentucky was not very good.
Pretty average at best.
Florida loses, like you said, Keontae Johnson. Thank God he's okay, but he's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy who's going to be a lottery pick. He's out. LSU's one of the most poorly coached teams in the league. When you look at the league right now today, you go, how many good teams are there? Two. There's a really good team in Alabama and a team that's starting to look really damn good in Fayetteville. That's it. Florida's Mike's done a terrific job.
They're the next best team, and their best player's not playing.
Mike's done a terrific job, but they're not a great team. Nobody's scared to draw.
If Johnson
Florida
was healthy, they would be really, really good.
Yeah, they might have done what everyone thought they would do.
Yeah.
Tennessee's underachieved, as you said.
After that, it's hodgepodge.
Auburn's been up and down, up and down, up and down. Missouri's just, yeah.
And you beat them for whatever reason.
You beat them twice, yeah. I mean, what kills you at this point is not the losses to Alabama or Florida or Arkansas. What kills you is the 2 losses to Georgia, the loss to Vandy. I'll even throw out the Mississippi State loss and call it a rivalry loss to appease the people that would go, oh, it's different when those uniforms are. Okay, fair enough.
But half their losses are to teams right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9th or worse in the league.
Give them a win either over Dayton or Wichita, one or the other. Give them one of the Georgia wins and beat Vanderbilt, and they're in the tournament today. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we're talking about going to the restaurant and going, I can't afford the steak. I'll have 2 waters and a breadstick. Okay. It's not an expensive order there. I'll take 1 win over Georgia, a split with Dayton and Wichita, and I'll beat Vanderbilt. That's going to get me in.
Yeah, we're not even discussing, hey, you should have held the lead in Gainesville.
I mean, that's not, hey, you got to get down the double black mountain there. That's get down the kiddie slope for the prize. And for whatever reason, you can't be focused enough to get down the damn kiddie slope. That's what would drive me crazy. And I wrote this in 10 Thoughts. It's got to be what keeps Kermit up at night. I mean, if I were Kermit, I'd have to be taking something to help sleep right now because I don't know. And I wrote this a week ago, and I don't know does it still apply. The whole you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I find it difficult to believe that Kermit Davis isn't getting across to his team how much it needs to play hard, how much he wants them to play hard, how much he wants them to win. I don't understand it, honestly.
No, look, Kermit's at fault because Kermit put the roster together. But from a day-to-day level, I have a hard time believing he's committing coaching malpractice on when he gets across to his program. That makes 0 sense. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's seen all the signs when this kind of thing starts happening. He knows it. When you look at it, the roster's going to get turned over. maybe by a good bit. I don't know. A lot of hope, a lot of necessity being put on Deshaun Ruffin coming in, which question marks in some ways. It's a pivotal time. I mean, you kind of you feel like you mentioned it. You said possible, not probable, and that's right. I mean, you do wonder if there's some sort of staff shakeup. It feels like it's at that point where something happens. I don't know what that something is, but whether it be some sort of mass roster change, some assistant shakeup, something. It's got. We've been around this for a while. It's got the feel of being that offseason.
I'll be surprised if he shakes up his staff.
Will you really?
I will, just based on talking to people.
Okay.
By the way, big announcement from Ole Miss just then.
What is that?
It's not a surprise to either you or I. I think we both knew this was coming.
What?
They went all out on the announcement, though. Lynette Johnson retiring effective May 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, we both knew it was coming. So.
Yeah. So Ole Miss will be looking for another women's administrator. No idea.
No clue.
No, I didn't see that. They tweeted it out.
I don't know if they tweeted it, but there's an email. They got quotes from Van Chancellor, Pete Boone, Yolette McPhee McEwen, Mike Bianco, and Keith Carter.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I see it here 6 minutes ago.
Back to men's basketball for a minute. Here's my other concern moving forward with this team. I mean, assuming that there's no 4-day magic run in Nashville. And frankly, even if there is, you replace Devontae Shuler with Deshaun Ruffin. It's a lot of pressure to put on Deshaun Ruffin.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's...
You replace Romello White with I'm not sure what. You haven't gotten anything really out of Matthew Morrell. KJ Buffin's game didn't take the next step. Luis Rodriguez's game sort of stalled this year.
For a lot of reasons, and EMC didn't have a year.
Yeah, I won't hold that against anybody.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just production-wise.
Yeah, you've gotten nothing out of Sean Robinson.
At all.
At all.
Even a minute.
You've not gotten anything significantly consistent out of Austin Crowley. Who am I forgetting? Sammy Hunter's had a moment here and a moment there, but there's
flash,
nothing. But there's nothing consistent at all. That's
about it.
Yeah, Jarkel Joyner's there. His perimeter game, to me, has fallen off.
He settles for a lot of mid-range stuff.
That's his strength, is mid-range, and so he takes threes. And when he takes threes right now, they're not good. I don't know. I don't know what you've got 3 freshmen coming in. You're going to go after transfers. Everyone's going after transfers. You're going to hear Breakfield rumors, the kid from Duke. I don't know. We've been hearing that name for so long now that it's almost becomes.
There's a desensitized to it.
It becomes Easter Bunny-ish.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't. And then you can't help but ask, and this is going to get people inside that building probably a little irritated, but if next season is not a tournament season, people start to get antsy. And then here's the part that's not really fair, but the people that refuse to put things on a level playing field and see it for what it is, they'll say, well, look how fast Nate Oates turned it around in Tuscaloosa.
Musselman at Arkansas.
Musselman, this is his 3rd season at Arkansas? Third season?
Third, I don't know.
They're at worst
no,
probably.
No, he can't.
Same time as Kermit, right? It's 3 years?
Whatever, I don't know. I think so.
They're probably a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. People are going to make those comparisons. It's not fair because those programs have.
No, he's only in his second season.
Those programs have more resources than.
Yeah, he went 20-12, 7-11, and then 19-5, 11-4.
So there we are. Alabama's going to be a 2 seed. Arkansas is a 4 seed. LSU's probably in the tournament. I don't know how, but they are. Mississippi State's not in the tournament. A&M's a complete disaster. Auburn's got a huge recruiting class coming in. They're going to be really good next season in all likelihood. And then you got Ole Miss. You got to figure out – at some point you got to figure out what is your expectation, and I don't know what it is. I think it is what you and I talked about this morning. I think it is to be in the conversation in March.
Yeah, well, we'll hit that for a minute before we get to baseball. We'll talk about that in 1 second. We'll tell you about Northeast Spark. That's SPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, which is 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Florida studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service available, as well as parental controls, network security, and more. Again, NESPARC.com.
We're also brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. 1 in Ridgeland next to Fleet Feet. 1 in Flowood next to Half Shell. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Based in Madison, Mississippi, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. Investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using information, objective information, and research, not emotions at Pinnacle Trust. And regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed, and financial retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com. PINNtrust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fees. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about traveling this summer, you're thinking about doing something during the holidays, maybe you want to take advantage of the prices today for a big blowout trip in 2022, all of those are great ideas. Make them even greater by getting in touch with John. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He will give you options. You don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services either. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
So, message board thread, multiple of them the last few days that have talked about, hey, here at Ole Miss, the number of NCAA tournaments in how many years and what are the expectations, and everything focuses on that. It's simply finite number of appearances over a year period, or how many years of a period. It's a little more complicated than that. And I don't really know, honestly, I don't know what Keith's expectation is for the program. I know that at times Ross was quoted as basically every other year being in the conversation every year was kind of his understanding of what he had an expectation for being. Somebody pointed out on the board the other day, there's only a few SEC programs that even average 1 out of 3 years in the NCAA tournament. The perennials, then actually Ole Miss does because of 13, 15, and 19. They just leak into that window as you're counting this season. But, you said this morning, not stealing thunder, but just kind of setting up the thing. Andy survived a really long time because other than 1 year with some ACL stuff and then there at the end, he stayed in the conversation every year. So what happened is we're just keeping it real here. For the Ole Miss fan, football to baseball, there was a big gap there where there was interest and there was a basketball season, and it kept you engaged as a sports fan throughout that whole process. And, finally gets there with Marshall, gets back a couple years later. Frankly, it kind of had a little momentum there for a minute before it all fell apart. And I think that's job one. I think with being an SEC program, not even really about the pavilion, but just showing up and trying to promote it from a money standpoint, Kermit trying to do a lot of community organizing, everything that's going on around the program and the setup you have in place, I think that's the beginning expectation, is every year you get into the SEC tournament with at least being on the bubble. Maybe you don't always get in, maybe you don't, but you don't suck and you're in the conversation. And I think that's doable a very high percentage of the time if you're running a pretty good program.
Where you go to the SEC tournament and there's interest.
Sure. Maybe I got to win one, maybe I'm good, maybe I got to win two, but there's at least a path where what's not happening right now, which is, well, you better go win the damn thing.
Yeah, where frankly the SEC tournament wouldn't get interesting for an Ole Miss fan until Saturday.
Yeah.
You'd have to win Thursday and then win Friday, and then you'd be like, oh, well, what's this? And I'll write about it next week. Anything's possible in Nashville.
Ole Miss is a good enough program for that to be the situation. Ole Miss is not a good enough program to gripe about seed or where you are placed in the tournament. That's their crevice right now. They're in that valley.
Yeah, look, Sean Jones in the thread makes a good point. He says 10 of the 15 players on Arkansas's roster are from the state of Arkansas. It wasn't going to be hard for them to improve, and they were all either 4- or 5-star players. That's true. Here's the part that I think hurts Kermit, if I'm honest. Kermit probably deep down knows this.
Mm-hmm.
The hype from this, the preseason hype on this team, it was not outside generated. It was generated internally. He's the one that said, this is one of my best teams. This is I've got these experienced. We're tough. We're going to rebound. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He said all that.
And I think it really would have been his message had we actually had some rubber chicken circuit in the offseason. We didn't have that because of the pandemic.
I think he would have been out there telling people, hey, this is going to be a really good team. And whether that's fair or not, what it does is it creates an expectation that when it's not achieved, feels like failure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's PR 101. Don't overpromise. Because if you do, the letdown's bigger than it is if you tell people, hey, look, we got a chance. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little worried whether we're a shooter short. I'm a little concerned about a couple of guys. Will they accept roles? I'm a little worried about a couple of development guys. I'm a little concerned about a couple of evals that we may have done.
We're trying.
We're working on it, but I've got some concerns. That falls on deaf ears when you start saying it in January. I mean, I keep making AK comparisons because I've covered these two men for a long time, and the truth is I really like both of them. AK would always caution. Someone would ask him in November, do you like this team? Yeah, but you can ask Kimber, I always like my team in November. He would always be careful with it. And people would get irritated at that. They wanted him to promote and pump, and bottom line is it's hard. The bottom line is here's the bottom line. It's two really good coaches that have been here now for a combined 15 years.
Yep.
And it's really hard.
I think 06, 07 was Andy's first year.
It's really a hard job. It just is. It's a really hard job.
Easier than it was then, but harder. Hard nonetheless.
Yeah, it is. And when people do we shouldn't have built the pavilion. Well, you had to build the pavilion.
Yeah, what I mean,
you couldn't have kept playing. You had games rained out at the Tad Pad.
You're in the SEC. Act like it.
I don't know that the SEC was going to sit around and.
Yeah, you can't have a cesspool of an arena at some point.
Yeah, you had to play. But I've never heard a kid say, "Yeah, I'm going to Kentucky because I want to play at Rupp." I've never heard a kid say, I'm going to go to Duke because I really want to play in Cameron. The architecture really hits me. Read into that what you will.
Yeah. It's fair. I guess. I don't know. Thompson Bowling, though. It's a gem of a place. What's the name of the arena in Lubbock? Baylor? By God, that one in Waco now.
That's nice.
Hey.
Man. Woo! Fancy.
They draw people in from far and wide.
It is fancy.
Hey, they lost. When you're watching Kansas and Baylor, I know grime just builds up in your mouth, but what do you even do? Because you watch any game and you go, oh, well, I hope this team wins. When it's Kansas and Baylor, my eyes are popping out. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Bill Self is the noble one in the building.
All that's missing is for LSU to be standing over on the side going, we got next. We got
the
winners.
Playground.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. Well, because I saw Baylor lost, and I kind of got excited, and then I was like, "Oh, it's Kansas." Shit. Okay. Like,
Today's round robin brought to you by Clorox.
Yeah. Right. Oh gosh. Robert, I agree with you, but honestly, I'll give Ole Miss credit here. The classrooms in TADPAD were actually very important because it allowed for larger student sizes. Like, Neal and I were actually on this discussion this morning for a different reason. But Ole Miss and a lot of smaller, more liberal arts type of campuses, they don't have the big lecture halls, and it causes some problems from a COVID standpoint and where to put kids when they go back into to in-person classes. Alabama jumped in the fray today. I saw where they announced in-person full classes in the fall.
Yep.
So LSU, Ole Miss State.
I don't think State's
I haven't
done
seen
it yet.
Ole Miss, Alabama, LSU is who I've seen for sure. And there may be some others, but nonetheless. All right, baseball had a 2-2 week. They beat Arkansas State, who might be the worst Arkansas State team I've seen, which means something because I've seen a lot of bad Arkansas State baseball over my 15, 16 seasons. UCF came in and really just dominated the series. I wrote about it yesterday morning. I kind of wanted to think about it for a minute on Saturday night. Ended up writing it really early yesterday morning. They take the series. Ole Miss was much closer to getting swept than winning the series. They scored 3 runs in the first game on Saturday, doubleheader on Saturday. They lose a 1-run game on Friday night, but they hit a solo home run to even cut it to 1 on Friday night. They win 6-5 on Saturday, and then just get completely dominated in the finale, 7-2. UCF is not a good baseball team. They're not a bad baseball team. They're kind of scrappy. If your baseball team is located in Orlando, you're going to find some talent within 90 miles of you. So I mean, they're picked third in the American. The American's a pretty good baseball conference. So they were going to show up. They were going to play well. You've got a number 1 ranking next to your name. They're going to be all geeked up. You got no stadium help at all because there's nobody in the freaking stadium like you typically might. You got to generate your own energy. And frankly, we've talked about this, and it's what happened. Ole Miss hasn't been hit in the mouth since they lost the Super Regional to Arkansas in 2019. They come into last season. You got a bunch of kids that, frankly, were too young to know better. They have always won. They kept winning, and that's what we do. We win. The season ended prior to anything happening to that. They played really damn well in Texas last weekend.
Big crowds.
Big crowds.
There was
fed off
atmosphere.
momentum.
Playing in a big league park.
But there were question marks. They only scored in 7 of 27 innings in Texas. There were things you could look at and go, okay, but small sample size, but just look at it. And 2 things happened. The middle of the lineup was non-existent over the course of the weekend, and you don't win games when the middle of your lineup's non-existent. The 2 through 5 spots in the order hit like, I don't know, I had the number, like 145 or something.
And as a rule,
that's not good.
For any baseball team,
that's not
at virtually any level, that's a killer.
Their starting pitching was good enough. There was no problems. They allowed 8 runs in 19 innings as starting pitchers, and they struck out 29 and walked 1. Fine.
Pretty good.
That'll get you wins with metal bats in college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But offensively, they were a disaster, and here's what happened. They got hit early. They never recovered, and once they got down, I likened it to a pot that is boiling. When it's boiling, by God, you're hot and you're on fire and you're whatever. But either the heat gets turned down or you start boiling over and you're losing water. You don't just kind of fall off. There's no sort of boiling. You're either boiling or you're not. And for Ole Miss, it went tap water, lukewarm, nothing. And they couldn't find it again. They got hit. They got punched. It was a bunch of young kids. And even the kids who aren't young, they haven't played SEC seasons. That's what we keep talking about. There's a difference in a returner and an experienced returner. Those are not the same thing at all. Ole Miss doesn't have a lot of experience, and they couldn't find the gas pedal. Instead, they pressed offensively. They extended the strike zone. They started swinging at stuff in the dirt. They swung at basically every first pitch. I mean, just, by God, they were hacking. And they were trying to hit that 8-run home run to get all it back at once, and they panicked. That's what Ole Miss did. They panicked over the weekend. I thought that winning that game, too, might settle them a little bit.
I did, too. Because they were really kind of fortunate to win it.
Oh, well, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But it felt like, UCF's going, hell, we blew the opportunity. It felt like a momentum change there.
Agreed.
But they immediately get to Derek Diamond. They score early. They get a lead, and that was night. I mean, it was like 2-0, 3-0, and it might as well have been 12-0 at that point because Ole Miss lost all control of offensive game plans. They didn't hunt the fastball. They didn't take walks. They didn't work counts.
Chased a lot of stuff.
Yes, I'm saying. They it would have been an inability for UCF to actually extend pitch counts. Like, their pitcher could not throw a lot of pitches. Ole Miss was swinging at everything, and that's kind of what you get. You know, it was going to happen. We'll see how they respond to it. I do think they have some legitimate issues in that lineup they've got to figure out. Mike Bianco on Saturday night admitted he doesn't know his team right now. He's still trying to figure some roles out. It was an honest answer that 330 NCAA baseball programs probably feel right now.
What are some options he has? Obviously, the top of his order is messed up right now because his leadoff man's out.
Yeah, Chatney's out another week or two probably. I think he did in Game 3. He did one of the things you had to do, which was move Hayden Dunhurst up. He's hit all season. Look, all sample sizes are small right now, so
Sure.
you just take what you have and mess
Sure,
with
of course.
it. I think right now Justin Bench deserves to be pretty high. Gonzalez has played well still, because even some of his contact was fine, I thought, over the weekend. And then Dunhurst. I think your question remains fair or unfair, and Mike's going to give very long leashes here because it's two of the guys. These are the two guys with the most experience. Is what are you doing with Kevin Graham and Tim Elko? They've both struggled so far this season. Kevin is a freshman, hit 10 home runs, played most days against right-handed pitching, and it's a different deal now when you have to face both sides. Kevin, as a freshman, was 1 for 19 against left-handed pitching. That's been the emphasis since then. Mike says it's better. Maybe it is. But it's a question mark still. It's one of the things we got to see because you're playing every day. You got to be able to hit left-handed pitching. Tim had a couple really freaking hot weekends last year. He looks the part. He was an incredibly highly rated recruit. And when he stays within himself, he's a really good baseball player and a really good hitter. But it feels like if anything kind of gets out of sorts, he gets long, he swings at stuff out of the zone. It's kind of easy to get him out of his system, if you will. And he can't do that. It's not a long season, only 56 games. It's a short season. You got to kind of stay in yourself a little bit. So Mike's got to figure out what to do with them. He's got to figure out Ben Van Cleve and Kel Baker, two JUCO transfers that can hit the ball a long way, but they're JUCO kids. They're still in their first full season out of JUCO. Are they going to strike out too much? Are they going to swing and miss? What do you have there? Nobody knows. So, it's a lot of freaking question marks right now for that offense.
You know, you touched on this, and it's interesting because I've heard about it two different places over the course of the weekend. So I was watching a documentary on the Cubs 2020 season. And I promise I'm not about to make this about the Cubs. I promise. But the Cubs were talking about playing at Wrigley when it was empty and how you had to generate your own energy day in and day out.
Yeah.
A 60-game season, it was a sprint the whole way, and you're having to generate energy, and that sometimes was harder than other times.
Sure.
I was flipping around on the computer, and I noticed, because I wanted to see what the weather was in Fayetteville, and they were playing in the same deal. It was kind of wet. They're used to big crowds. They didn't have a big crowd. And their announcers were talking about having to create energy. And when you have the number one in front of your name, that
automatic energy over there.
That is the energy for the other team.
Yeah.
They're motivated to come beat the top-ranked team. That is their energy. And this is a new thing. You didn't play with this last year. The season just got killed. Boom, you ran into a brick wall. It was over. You didn't play in empty stadiums. Mm-hmm. And now you're playing in a Swayze that doesn't feel like Swayze. It
was their first empty stadium.
Yeah, they played in front of people.
There was 20,000 there in Arlington.
Yeah, and you're used to the midweek deals, but I'm telling you, it's a different deal.
The midweek felt full because you know it's a midweek. In your head, it's like, oh, wow, this is a pretty good crowd for a Tuesday. And you're playing a shit team.
This is what we expect on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon. But when you're conditioned to play at Ole Miss Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and in this case Friday, Saturday, you're conditioned to big crowds, and there's nobody there. And I'm not making an excuse, but now it is something that I think internally as players that you have to address is, hey, we're going to have to kind of be our own, quoting Anthony Rizzo, so part of our role last year was to be cheerleaders. We had to make noise. We had to do all the cheers, literally had to do, like if you listen to basketball games, you can hear the players going, defense, defense. You don't ever hear that in a college game.
Yeah.
But you're having to do it now.
Yeah, Blake, you're kind of making our point. A, the talent discrepancy in football was so different than baseball. But two, Alabama is used to this. Ole Miss was not used to this. This was all completely foreign from every single level for what this looked like.
And baseball's
also
such a
was
different
just one
sport.
weekend. I mean, I don't know.
Of course.
I mean, UCF's won 6 of their last 7 against SEC teams. Like, okay, sure.
Well, I said this before the season. I wrote it again yesterday, and this is going to happen in league play too. You're going to run into a buzzsaw in league play and look like crap and get beat and have to respond to it. You're also going to roll over someone in league play when you're the buzzsaw and they're a little flat, and you're going to have to check yourself at the door on Monday morning and go, okay, that's over. Just because we did it once doesn't mean we're going to automatically do it again. We've got to stay. That's coming.
And they're not counting on one player, but I think look, and here's the funny part of this too. Peyton Chatney has played 20 college baseball games. We don't even know what his long-term offensive potential is. I think it's pretty good. He was by far their spark plug in Arlington, but I don't know what it is long-term. But when you lose a productive top-of-the-lineup player, he's your engine. He's also the guy that keeps you loose. He's always bouncing around. He's kind of taking on that Anthony Servideo role. So you didn't even just lose this. You lost kind of everything, because when you look at that lineup, where are you getting the outward energy? Where are you getting the not the rah-rah, but the outward leader that does talk and yell and whatever? It's not really there. Justin Bench, quiet guy. Tim Moko, quiet guy. Kevin Graham, quiet guy.
Right.
Who's the dude that pumps you up? I mean, if you're a true freshman, you're not that guy because you haven't earned that.
And if there's 9,000, 10,000 people at Swayze, you don't have to have that guy. The crowd will do it for you. But when they're not there, someone's got to be that person. And sometimes there's not a natural person to do it.
And it needs to be a position player.
Yeah, it can't be a pitcher. You know, it's got to be a guy that's out there every day. Yeah.
And out of their leaders, they don't have the outward. Chatney is their outward guy. So it was predictable. I mean, I didn't necessarily think they were going to lose the series, but I'm not surprised at the way it played out at all.
They're precisely where I thought they'd be at this point. They just did it in a different way.
They did it in a weird way.
I thought they'd be 5-2 after 7.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I wrote this, and it's kind of the only thing that I think is worth watching. They've got to figure out bullpen roles. Not even about whether they're good or not, but just how they're using people. Like, I don't think Mike knows that yet. He's still got tons of question marks on what to do with different people. Lineup, the rotation's solid, obviously, but bullpen and lineup. And they got to fix it. Look, SEC seasons do not go on paper. They change up. Some team that's picked 6 wins the West all the time. Everybody's good, and it is what it is. But if you're Ole Miss, there is a little more sense of urgency when you start league play with Alabama and Auburn. They're picked 6th and 7th in the SEC. Yeah. You know the top half is damn good.
Auburn kind of had a pretty good weekend, right?
No, Auburn, well, they didn't play well. I don't know what they did win-loss standpoint. They were at that thing in Frisco or Round Rock or wherever it was. But point being, you need to be 4-2 after those first 6. Alabama has a first-team All-American pitcher, or at least expected. I don't necessarily buy into it, but it is what it is. Auburn has struggled some. You need to be 4-2 after that 6, because your next 9 after that are Florida, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. You know how good those 3 programs are. So it would be a little different, as crazy as it sounds, if you started off with kind of a tougher schedule. But when you feel like there are 1 or 2, especially in Ole Miss's case, when you don't play Tennessee, you don't play Missouri, you don't play Kentucky, you got to kind of get those a little bit. And I do think that creates some urgency for Mike as he moves forward. But again, 3 games, 56-game season. Oh, let's take a chill pill. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Did you see my boy Jack Leiter with the curveballs?
His body language is as good as any college pitcher I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and not in a rocker way where he's whatever, just a very professional. No. Like, one of the MLB guys today tweeted something about him and said it's almost like you dropped a major league pitcher into the SEC for a year, where just the mannerisms, the kid for
unflappable.
Who were they playing?
Hell, I don't know.
St. Louis or Indiana. They were blue and white. I don't know who the hell it was. Whoever they were playing, the guy was trying to call time.
Right.
And Leiter had none of it. So before they actually gave time, he throws the pitch, and the batter's all pissed off. And it's and then one guy that gets out of the box, and he still never moves. Leiter stays complete still, waiting.
10 seconds.
Yeah, just waiting. He steps in and he throws. It's like, there is a command presence there that is pretty impressive. I mean, he's
a badass.
I don't know that I don't like him better.
I go back and forth. They're both really, really good.
Yeah. Now I think Rocker's going 1.
I do too.
I don't think
Rocker's electric. Leiter's a little more workmanlike.
He is.
But boy, you look up at the end of the day and you're like, oof.
The stuff's real.
Oh, the stuff is his overlays are just.
Yeah.
You're guessing.
Yeah.
If you guess right, you've got a chance. Although the curveball's so good that you can guess curveball and still not hit it.
I know. So, podcast.
Sorry,
you're good.
You all are probably going to be subjected to this over the course of the year. I'm developing.
Leiter's going to make a great pirate.
I know, and that's what's happening is that I'm developing a crush on someone that's going to pitch the National League Central. Yeah, it makes no sense at all. It's stupid.
Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. G&M 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. They offer MedSync to give every prescription the same day every month to make it one trip on you, whether it be delivery or stopping in their store. They will take care of you that day and make sure you have the medicine you need when you need it, whether it be on the Square in Holly Springs or on South Lamar in Oxford. Again, that's 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Bain, Moss & Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, DUI defense, car wrecks, representing government entities. It's the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. You can learn more by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620. We're also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They are your trailer-specific professionals. They're the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail, which is the premium brand trailer, the highest quality utility equipment dump and gooseneck trailer being built today. Also home to Hallmark Cargo Trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market as well. For podcast listeners, they've got accessories, spare tires, wheels. They also do all types of truck accessories, and they have a full service trailer and service and inspection shop. Tell them that you heard about them on the podcast. You get 10% off that yearly trailer service and inspection. 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit and hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. They've been advertising with us for more than 2 years. We've always directed you to DM them to set up a time to get measured. But now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can visit Blue Delta Jeans to get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your very own jeans. And just for our podcast listeners, enter the discount code Rebel Grove. That's all lowercase, one word, at checkout and get 10% off your order. They're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. You'll feel the exact same way. You will love yours at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, Duckhead, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or at therogue.com. 601-362-6383. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet in Jackson. Let him find you the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevrolet vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give Joey a call or a text at 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson to test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting. And let him earn your business, and be sure you tell him you heard about this ad on the Oxford Exxon Podcast or the Soft Verbal Podcast.
Yeah,
I've got a crush on Leiter who's going to kill the Cubs for years, and I've developed an obsession with Cade Cunningham at Oklahoma State, who's going.
Oh, have you really?
Who's not going to play for the Thunder, and
he's the first pick, right?
Oh yeah, he's going to go someplace and just going to drive me crazy because the Thunder keep winning. Idiots.
So what's their pick right now? Are they going to get any ping pong balls?
They'd have like the 7th and the 11th picks, and I think depending on where Golden State falls, they'd have like the 21st pick too. So I guess they could conceivably package and trade up, but good luck. Like Cunningham had 40 the other day against Oklahoma. He's a stud. He's so good.
Did he come out of nowhere in some ways?
Nah, people knew. People knew he was.
Really?
Yeah. Oklahoma State hired his brother so that he'd play there.
Well, I'm sure he's a great coach.
Oh, he's just an X and O genius.
I mean, I would assume, yeah, come on. Had nothing to do with the player.
Ole Miss is at 8 tomorrow, by the way.
Okay. The worst part of Vandy is the Whistler. Like, to the point of, it amazes me their own fans don't get more vocal and annoying about it.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
Because it would ruin the game day experience.
It's just constant. He's a jerk. Like, it
Because
makes
the rest
no
of their
sense.
game day experience is really good. I mean, Corbin's done a really good job.
They do everything they can do with what they have.
Yeah. It's you know.
It's
And
strange.
you have to listen to that. You would think Corbin would want it stopped.
But apparently, whatever. I don't know. Let's see. Who does? Let's see. All jokes aside, do you think BYU will be in a conference by then in 2028?
Oh, yeah, probably. I would think. I
Still
think
an independent right
I
now.
gotta kind of feel like everybody's gonna have to be in one by then.
J.J. Watt agrees to 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, he broke it on the Twitter.
Did you see where he put his finalist on Peloton?
It wasn't his.
Oh, it was.
Turns out he doesn't even have a
Oh,
Peloton.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dang it! I was hoping that was true. That'd be
I
funny.
was too. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't.
Have you jumped into that group with Kubelik and all them? Have you
Oh, yeah.
rode with them? Some?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Buns of Anarchy
Yeah.
group. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done many of their rides.
For his size, he's a freak on that thing.
Well, now look, to
Okay.
do the metrics that Cole's getting,
Okay.
because I've done it a few times.
Okay.
You're not following the prompts of the instructor.
You're trying to run your outage, your output up
You're essentially ignoring the instructor, cranking your resistance
as high as you can get it.
basically to 100, getting into third position, and you're just going as hard as you can for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever. I've done it a few times.
Now you're burning.
No, you're burning some serious calories, but you're not exactly following the prompts. I don't know that that's the proper,
He's trying to win, not trying to exercise.
not trying to train.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, because I've done it enough times to know how it's done. When I'm like, oh, I want to see what it's like to be at the top or near the top of the leaderboard. How high can I get on a leaderboard?
So what's impressive then are the people at the top of the leaderboard actually following the program.
Yes.
That's where like, oh, okay, that.
I did not do the 90s hip hop ride on Saturday because Saturday was my running day. I had to go run. So when I was finished running, I could not do anything else.
Okay.
I worked my way up to 6.2 miles.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're
Slowly getting there. Just the body is not agreeing with a lot of it.
10 years ago, different.
Oh, yeah. No, it's,
A decade has shown at this point.
yeah.
Michigan jumps Baylor in most of the polls after Baylor loses. Wolverines.
Michigan
number
beat
2.
Indiana the other day, right?
That's correct. Yes, that is correct. Going Howard there at Ann Arbor. Braves and Red Sox playing a spring training game, already in the 4th inning right now.
Oh, yeah. I probably should have turned that on in here.
Yeah, so some different stuff going on. So anyway, there's that. We will, I don't know, we'll cover something. We still got, I think we're going to have some executive order news as the week goes on. We'll touch a little more on.
What's the date we're looking for on that?
I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? I'll look, but for some reason that's what sticks out.
I don't know why I was thinking it's tomorrow, but the more you say that, the more I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it's Wednesday. That seems right. So anyway, we'll have that. Probably touch a little more on what it means for some of these schools to go ahead and be declaring what they are doing in the fall and more. So that's kind of what to look for as the week moves on. Again, Neal's got G-Pits here soon, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the podcast. So stay safe. Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow.